Hello, neighbors. I'm Jason Gadd, Mayor of the City of Hopkins, and welcome to Friday, July 10th. And I hope you had a great 4th of July celebration this past weekend and able to either virtually or even physically get together with family and friends to honor and share traditions about the 4th of July and about the birth of our nation and really what makes our nation unique, and celebrating that diversity and the people coming together to make change. That's really what sets our nation apart and also sets our community apart. Hopkins, we have a strong tradition within Hopkins of working together, overcoming issues, and celebrating diversity. And that is one of those key events of our traditions and our history is Raspberry Festival. And I'm excited that the festival is still going on this year, even with the pandemic, COVID-19 restrictions. But yet they've been able to modify it to hopefully still celebrate the tradition, but keep everybody safe. I'm excited to have with me a couple of special guests from Raspberry Festival, and I just wanted to, they shared some ideas with me, and so I just wanted to share that with you. And so hopefully enjoy, and welcome to our special guest for this week.
This week's message, a couple of individuals who are key to the city and then play an important role, especially with one of the traditions that we have really coming up, as I've talked about traditions. And that is with our Hopkins Raspberry Festival. And so I wanted to bring on board and hear from Charlie Yunkers and also our new Grand Marshal for 2020. But I'll turn it over to Charlie to talk a little bit about, with Raspberry Festival, with the pandemic, with everything going on, has there been changes?
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, when it comes to events over this summer, everybody's having to change. Everyone's having to figure out, can we do something, or is it best to do nothing? And it's been a hard decision. I've been in the festival world, so to speak, long enough where you get to know folks from other communities who, had to wrestle with the same decisions. And a lot of them had to make a decision on their June events, in April and sometimes even end of March. So, terrible, kind of timing, but we had, I guess you would say the benefit of having a little extra time, being that our event is in July. And we ultimately led to, let's try to hold a virtual festival. Let's try to take some things online and modify them, and just try to do something a little different and do something versus nothing. And the interesting part of it is truly this decision came out of the power of strategic planning to kind of plug that kind of thing in organizations. We jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, refer to the winter as our off season, even though there really is none. But we use that time, to kind of think strategically. And over this past winter, the topic we talked about was, why is Raspberry here in Hopkins? And kind of in the 21st century, what's our purpose? Festival's been around over 8 decades, so that purpose changes over time, and that's fine. It fits its era, so why are we here? And the theme that came out of that was connecting. Like, our job is to connect the community together, and we do that through a festival, right? And we purposefully didn't take it as far as a tagline or a theme or this big marketing push out of it. It was intended to be an internal, I don't know what the word would be for it, but here's why we're here, and if we all understand that collectively, then that informs our decisions, right? And that's what led us to, we're going to do something versus nothing, even if it's not big and grand. So that's how we landed on a virtual festival.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been involved with the festival, Charlie?
Oh my goodness. Well, so an old friend of mine, Jeff Dulac, who's, just as, known in the festival as I am. So he and I actually started videotaping events in the 90s when we were kids. And this was back when video production was, kind of a bigger deal. There were no phones, there were no computers at home to do it. So to do this, you were playing with the same equipment that TV stations were, and that was kind of our thing. So then over the years, past festival people just kind of, sunk their claws into us and got us in on the inside, and look at us now.
So awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've been always proud of what you and the rest of the Raspberry team have been able to do for the city through putting on the Raspberry Festival. So I know as a city, we appreciate all that. And I know this year you, even with the going virtual, you still came out with and announced a grand marshal.
We did. One of the, events that, we were gonna for sure do something with the parade. I mean, it's, one of those top events that we're known for. So we essentially decided, well, let's kind of copy the National Night Out model, or Night to Unite model. I can never tell, which one it's supposed to be called, but let's just see if people want to, have a backyard barbecue or whatever on parade day, and we'll just drive by and have a few units and wave and, give the community something. So for doing a parade, then we're gonna have a grand marshal. Got to have a grand marshal. So, we don't have, I would say, real strict criteria, so to speak, on how we pick a grand marshal. It's pretty broad in sense of, we just want someone who's served Hopkins well in some way, shape, or form. So at least, in my time of being involved in the festival, it's been, just prominent volunteers, school district folks, city folks, business owners that, go way above and beyond just running their business. And so it's been kind of across the board. So, Amy's name came up as one of those examples of, someone who moved their business here and has certainly sought to be more than just a business. I mean, it certainly contributes to the community in a big way. And I mean, just a couple, ones that come to mind are the old fashioned holiday, that has grown each year since its inception. And it's just a great, great event for that time of year in downtown Hopkins. And then also the Girls on the Town event, which, I think is kind of wound down, but that sort of thing happens, and you just kind of have to kind of keep trying stuff. And it's kind of that same theme, right? Of, well, we'll do a virtual festival. Let's see what happens. And so we thought she was, well deserving of the honor of being the first grand marshal of a traveling parade.
Well, congratulations, Miss Amy Saldana.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself and why you came to Hopkins.
Absolutely. First off, I'm just thrilled to be here today. I'm thrilled to be a part of the Raspberry Festival because it is such a connector to our city, and we have so much to celebrate virtually, in person, however we want to do it, right? So I own Kitty Wampus in a toy store on Main Street, right across the street from Stages Theater. I moved my business to Hopkins 6 years ago. It was the best business decision I've ever made. I just thought I was moving to a new space. I had no idea the vibrant, inclusive, rich community that I was moving to. So it's been such a treat to get to know other business owners, to get to know other community members. And then a year and a half ago, my husband and I, we bought a house, moved our family here too, because we just completely fell in love. So we are all Hopkins.
Awesome. Well, we always appreciate that. That's what we always love about you.
There's a lot of us. As you know, there are a lot of people who feel this way, which is why I love it.
So what's it mean to you to now become part of the history and legacy of Raspberry Festival, being Grand Marshal?
Frankly, it's just an incredible honor, because this is a festival that means so much to so many. And our festivals, Raspberry Festival, has such I think, a poignant role in the history of our community. You see the Historical Society and what they do with kind of the history of the Raspberry Festival, and just the honor of the folks who are a part of it. I'm just a little just in awe of it, actually. But what I've taken this to mean is that I can be as loud and vocal about my enthusiasm for our city as I can. That's what I've taken it to mean. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I was doing before. I'm just going to keep doing that. So fantastic. It's a complete honor. As I said when Lugene called me, there are certainly more deserving candidates, but I'll take it. So.
Well, we'll take you as well. We're excited to
thank you. That's
lovely as well. And one of the things that appreciate both of you sharing a little bit about the upcoming Raspberry Virtual and your excitement. One of the things I am doing with everybody I talk with now is asking, there's 3 questions I want to kind of get your input on. And Amy, I think you've already kind of answered this one, and that is, what is your perspective of Hopkins as a business owner and now as a resident?
Engagement. If there's one word, it is about engagement. I've never seen a community that is so, where all the parts, the city is connected to the business community, connected to the residents, connected to the nonprofits, the civic, rich volunteer life, the schools. Of course, there's no such thing as a perfect city. Of course, we're always working towards bigger, better for all. That's definitely always going to be a far-reaching goal. I have never been a part of a community that values its engagement amongst all citizens so much. And I think it is the secret sauce of Hopkins. And I think that is why, I'm not surprised that volunteers would come together and say, we have to do Raspberry Fest to celebrate. It's just part and parcel of who we are as a community.
Now, Charlie, what is something that's really surprised you about Hopkins? Because I know you work with a variety of different cities and been involved with other cities. What surprised you? What has surprised you about Hopkins?
That's a good question. Yeah, you could almost say after this long, nothing surprises me anymore. I think, I guess in a way, I don't know if surprise is like the right word, for it to match your question, but it's the resiliency of the city, and I guess I'm coming from a festival perspective too, right? We're an organization that's all volunteer outside of our paid staff that does the charitable gaming component, but those folks go above and beyond as well. We don't come to City Hall asking for money. The city certainly devotes a lot of time and energy to help us out, and we always appreciate that. But what I'm getting at though is that it's really its own entity that has pretty much always been that way, as I understand the history going back to day one. And it just, that wouldn't happen if there wasn't that resiliency kind of built into the community a little bit, right? That this is just a good thing and it's going to happen, come, heck or high water, right? But then you see that in all the other aspects too, right? So many businesses that have been around so long, just continue, through, all the ups and downs. Residents don't leave, right? They grew up here and they still live here. And, certainly we're seeing, demographics change and things like that. But there's just such an identity, with folks that are from or connected to Hopkins. And I just think that resiliency is so strong. And that's just a big driver of, the same stuff Amy was talking about.
Okay, thanks. And then my final question then for Amy, put your thinking cap on.
Okay.
And that is, if you could accomplish or do one thing for Hopkins and knew that it would not fail, what would be?
Oh my gosh. Anything? Oh. Well, immediately I think of ziplining across Main Street, and then I realize I need to think bigger, right? Because I've wanted that for a long time. This is the chance to think much bigger though. I guess if there's one thing that I wish we could do, it's that we could tell our story. Tell our story and make sure that story includes absolutely everyone in Hopkins, that they felt represented, that they felt included, that they felt that they had a voice. That's a really nebulous concept, I realize. So perhaps I should move back to the zip line idea, but I think that's what I would like for us, is just to be able to kind of reflect in a meaningful way about who we are and celebrate what's great, keep moving forward for what things we want to keep working towards, and to make sure that our city represents us all. It's a very ambiguous answer.
No,
Apology.
It's not going to fail. Let's do it. Let's go big. So once again, I appreciate taking, the small amount of time to share with me and also the residents of Hopkins on kind of your perspectives, and we're looking forward to the upcoming Raspberry Festival. Charlie, what is the first virtual event coming up?
Well, the first virtual event will kick off with a Hunt for the Golden Raspberry, which will be all online. So I'm sure this is something Logene will talk about, when she talks to the council. But so we're going to kind of lead people on a little chase online at business websites, and it'll be embedded in a business website somewhere that you got to find. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so again, trying to keep traditional, but just put a twist on it. So
thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. This was fun.
Again, thank you to Charlie and Amy for taking the time to share with me, as well as your neighbors, insights about yourself and the Raspberry Festival and your perspectives on Hopkins. I look forward to talking with more members around the community, and just so that I get to know more people, but also you as my neighbors get to see and hear from more of your own neighbors, and because we're one big family. So I encourage you to participate in everything you can do. And remember, when you're out in public, you can't physically be separated. Please wear a mask to protect yourself and protect everyone around us, so that we can all get through this and maintain and allow our businesses to stay open and everybody to stay safe and healthy. So thank you very much for watching, and stay well.